I don't know what happened. I started reading, and then it stopped recording. Okay, I'm gonna take another breath. And ask for peace, joy, and happiness, abundance, protection, all that good stuff. For everyone watching. Oh shit. Okay, so that was. I think that was me. I'm blaming myself. I'm assuming that was something I did to stop recording. I don't know. I'm praying that it doesn't do that again. That was annoying. I think that's like one of the worst things that can happen. Like that's like a huge nightmare for content creators. It's like your audio stopped recording, or you stopped recording halfway through and you didn't know. Like what? Like if I didn't notice that, oh my god. Anyways, I hope you're having a nice day. I hope that you are really appreciating the existence that you have right now. One thing that I said before I was interrupted was also, I don't know what that sound is. I don't know if you can hear that. Like I'm playing this to kind of like compensate. I don't know, but I don't know. Things out of our control. One thing that I said is that there might have been a lot of tension in the air for you. That is a nice car right there. That was a sick vintage car. There might have been a lot of tension for you in the air, and we aren't in Mercury retrograde anymore, but there are other planets that are doing some interesting things, for sure. I think, don't ask me actually, I don't, I could look it up. One second, hopefully this isn't still recording. Let me see what's going on in this stratosphere. Where is it? Right up. I'm on astro.com. Alright. Also, if anybody is interested in a private video recording, reading, hit me up. Let me know. I may or may not put my email in the description. Okay. So, the moon is in Scorpio, Mercury is in Leo, Venus is in Libra. Oh yes, Saturn and Uranus are both in retrograde. All the generational planets are in retrograde actually. Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, Pluto, I think. Wow, that's quite interesting. I'm gonna like come back to this. Hello, I'm back. I couldn't see myself when I was doing that. Yeah, so there's a lot of, and also I've been saying for the last few weeks, that we do have election season coming up, and that's a big factor. Like, a lot of people are going to be so, like, charged and, like, ready to go. Like, however this happens to go, whether Kamala wins, whether Trump wins, people are going to be upset. And this is something to be wary of, especially if you're, like, a business owner or, like, somebody who, like, interacts with the public often. So, like, just keep this in mind. Like, people are going to be directing their anger towards you, and, like, it's best not to take it personal. We have the Empress card here at the bottom of the deck as I speak, as I'm talking, and, the Empress card is about fertility, it's about abundance, it's about creativity, right? The feminine. The counterpart, if I can speak, to the Emperor. And there might be something about discovering the self, or rediscovering the self, or adjusting the self, because now I'm led to think of the Emperor archetype, even though it did not come out. We have the World card. We could also say something about, like, our perception of the world, and the way that we see the world, and the way that we see the people in our lives, etc., etc. I think a big reason why a lot of people are going to be upset, why a lot of people are upset when it comes to, like, politics and election season, is because it involves a lot of core beliefs, and I don't think enough of us do the deep internal work to like really truly recognize our core beliefs. And when I say core beliefs, I mean like your main values. Like if I were to ask you like, what are the 3 things that you care about most in the world? Like if you had to like go to war for these things, what would be those things? Or people, if it's people. For me, I would say children, like the concept of like the youth, basically. It's playing the next song. I was like, why did it stop? I mean, but that's still playing. I don't know what that is. I would say, actually, that's a hard one. It's been a while since I've actually thought about this, but definitely children. That's for sure. Like, I guess I'd say animals too. And like, I'm wanting to say music. I'm wanting to say art, like poetry and shit, like just art. But yeah. Once again, we do have the world card here, and the world talks about peace. It talks about finality. It talks about completing cycles, and once again, I don't really feel like it's necessarily ending. For some of you, it might be something ending, maybe a job, maybe a career situation, or I don't know, like, but more so what I feel like is like a pivot. Like, not necessarily that we are abandoning shit, but we are looking in a different direction. Does that make sense? We have the 4 of Cups here, which would talk about boredom and stagnation, not feeling like you're making progress, and if I could remind you of abundance and what it means to be abundant at its core, and that even if you have nothing physically, like you have a mind, you have a heart, hopefully, you have determination, you have willpower, like there's so many things that you have that are not tangible. And I'm not necessarily seeing this within the cards, but it's, I guess we could squint our eyes and say that like with the elements within the cards, like, you know, fire, passion, the blood in our veins, etc., etc. Like, you have things to get you those other things if you're feeling stuck, if you're feeling like you're not making progress, you know. But it's just up to you, dear viewer, to like actually go for those things. Also, I haven't been making content. I don't know if I said that in this clip or like the clip that got cut short, but I haven't been making content as much. And I mean, I've been writing. I've been like working on Patreon projects, so like don't get me wrong, I've been doing stuff, but I just haven't been making like recordings as much. So I don't know. Sorry about that. Because part of me was like, I should start doing this every single day, but the dedication for that. Like, I used to record videos like every single day. I used to like really be on that, but it takes a lot out of it. And I'm just like, is it even appreciated? Because I'm not like one of those and like, you might find something within what I'm saying, so hopefully this is helpful, but I'm not one of those people who are like super make you popular on TikTok just yet. Like, I don't get like thousands of likes on a post. Like, at most I get like maybe 200 likes every once in a while and like a couple of thousand views, but like, I'm not super popular, you know. And so I say that to say, like, and okay, obviously popularity should not necessarily be the goal. Like, as a starseed, as a chosen one, if we could use that language, we should know that that's not the goal. It's not to be liked. It's not to be favored. It's to inspire change that is beneficial to all. I feel like the way I'm saying it is like question mark, but like that should be the goal, right? Like personally. So I say that to say as a caveat, like you might not be where you want to be. You might not be where you wish to be. Like maybe fame is a goal of yours. Maybe you do want to be adored by many. I don't know. But I just want to put that in your head. Like because if you're still watching, you're watching for a reason, right? And so like, I'm not saying you have to be totally altruistic and like completely like thinking about other people and your actions. But if you're going towards that, if you're trying to like make new friends and shit like that, like have that in the back of your mind. Like, you know, you're trying to make something beautiful, if you will. You know, we have the self-esteem card. The self-esteem card says, I possess gifts of the soul that benefit me and others. And that's kind of what I was saying. Like, just recognizing that you have these talents, these abilities, these gifts. I can feel the, what's the word? In the back of my head, I can feel the nihilism coming through. But there's a voice that's like, okay, but like, you're just adding meaning to this. And like, because I used to be full-on nihilist. I used to full-on be like, nothing really matters, we all just die, and we all just rot in the ground. I used to firmly believe that, and kudos to anybody who thinks like that, that's cool. But slowly over time, my thoughts evolved, changed, whatever you want to call them. And I feel like from the nihilistic perspective, it's easy to say like, okay, then what's the point? Like, if we all just die and like rot in the ground, what's the point? And I don't know. Whoever out there is thinking like that, I feel you very strongly. But once again, I was talking about core beliefs a moment ago. Now we're talking about that stuff. And this is why it's really necessary to journal and to like do that inner work, because if you don't know yourself, you're going to like fall prey to like any and all everything, you know? And it really sucks to me as an optimistic person to think that there are people out there who like genuinely have nefarious like intentions, like people who want to harness the energy of others and shit like that. Like it's hard to wrap around my brain personally, my heart. And if this is resonating for you, you might feel the same way. But I'm like holding the two perspectives in my head right now. I don't know if that's what you choose to believe. That's what you choose to believe. But I think if you're watching this, you're probably somewhat conscious. You're probably somewhat aware, self-aware. Hopefully, ideally. But you don't know what you don't know. And this was something that I used to say when I was an atheist, when I was a nihilist. Like, you don't know what you don't know. Like, and that's why Socrates, low-key, is like one of my favorite philosophers, because he was like, how can you know? Like, you don't know what you don't know. Like, you know? Actually, let me quote him directly, because there's all I know is that I know nothing. That's one phrase by him, I think. All I know is that I know nothing. I'm very limited in my knowledge. Like, and there's always something to learn, you know? Whether it's about energy, whether it's about people, whether it's about animal, like, there's always something to learn. Also, I should have probably started with this, because like, this is kind of a big message. Some of you might have had a recent idea or like plan of action in your mind, or on your heart, on your spirit, and it's really heavy. I'm trying to like say this in the right ways. Here, please guide me, please. You've had an idea on your mind. You have been wanting to do something for quite some time. And some of you have already started doing this, and that's awesome, that's beautiful. This isn't necessarily for you. But others of you, you haven't done this yet. Whether it's like starting up an online store, whether it's starting to write a novel, whether it's, you know, getting back to going to the studio for music or whatever it is, like there's something that you've been wanting to do that you like know in the back of your mind, in the front of your mind, honestly, that this is something that you should be doing. But I don't know, I feel like there's a level of nihilism, there's a level of like pessimism that is kind of like stopping you. And I don't know, we could go back to the altruistic thing, and like, this might work for some of you. Like, you think about the idea that like, you're not doing it just for you. Like, if you're going to the studio, you're going into the studio for like the potential people who will like hear your music, you know? If you're writing that book, you're writing that book for the potential people who will like read your book, basically. And this is something to consider. Now, that won't work for everybody, because I know for me personally, I'm just like, that doesn't necessarily change anything. That doesn't change the anxiety that I'm feeling around it. It does change my motives and my intentions for when I actually do it, when I actually end up doing it, whatever, you know, the thing is that I'm personally procrastinating on. But it doesn't necessarily fix the issue for me. Like, that's something I have to build up to. And everyone's different. Everyone works differently. At the end of the day, like, sure, we're all the same. Sure, we're all bleed blue or whatever. Or what? Bleed red. I mean, I was thinking because, you know, blood is technically blue before it touches. Anyway. But yeah, do not let go of that idea. Maybe you need to make space for that idea. And that's like an intangible thing, most likely. Like, sure, there's tangible things you could, like, do to represent that intangible. But, like, when I say that, I mean, like, maybe you need to let go of other ideas before you can pursue this idea. Maybe you need to stop putting so much energy into other ideas until, you know? But I'm just offering the suggestions. I'm just here as a soundboard. So, take it or leave it. But also just know that, like, whatever this thing is that you're wanting to do, it's going to, like, it has the potential to help so many people. And the longer you put it off, the longer you are... Well, I don't want to frame it like that. Never mind. That's actually not a good way to frame it. I was going to say the longer that you put it off, the longer that you... That's not... I don't like that framing of thinking. But... Because divine timing, whenever it happens, like... The divinity in you has the authority to, like, it doesn't matter, like, just get to it eventually, like, work on it, practice it, build up to it, and trust in the process. And, you know, this might sound a little crazy, this might sound a little out there, but, like, when you lean into being your own sovereign being, when you realize, like, the divinity within you, it kind of, like, simultaneously, it complicates and, like, decomplicates so many things. Like, because on one hand, you're able to, like, look at everything through, like, the lens of, like, it's just energy, it's just particles, it's just molecules, right? But then you're also like, okay, but, like, it's a lot deeper than that. You know, like, there's a spectrum of, like, awareness. And I don't know, maybe I'm just talking for myself, maybe I'm just talking, I don't know. But I don't know, I feel like people like that. I feel like when I'm just talking, people like that. But I'm gonna take a breath. If you want to take a breath with me, I'm gonna invite you to take a breath. 1, 2, 3. And I'm realizing in this moment that there's actually a few videos that I actually have been like procrastinating on. Like, there's a couple of videos that I've been wanting to record and I have not. And like, so I guess that previous message was partially to me. I'm doing this video, but specifically there's a video that I want to record. I already typed it out. Like, it's supposed to be a Patreon post also, but I'm supposed to also record a thing. And it's supposed to be about like how to handle negative emotions. And I'm gonna like use the notes from that and like do that. But I've been like holding off, partially because I think like energetically, because like, to be completely transparent, because it's Virgo season, and Virgo, like, I like to post in alignment with like the Virgo, like the seasons and shit. So like, that's why I posted the thing about like mindfulness and whatnot, because that is Virgo energy, like being mindful, like using your mind, affirmations and shit. That's Virgo. And so ideally I could wait till Libra season. I have some things scheduled for Libra season, which I don't in this moment remember when it starts. But I know Libra season's gonna be like lit, because I have a Libra ascendant, first of all, like, catch me out here. And also I have like a Venus in 10th house, which, if you know, you know. If you don't know, I could explain it. The 10th house is about career and like ambition, reputation. It's also like a place in the chart where you can kind of indicate if someone has the potential for fame. And if your Venus is there, that often means that whatever your heart is around, whatever you put your heart into, is probably going to be the thing that like makes you notable. You know, I could talk about a bunch of different aspects of my chart. I'm not going to, but I did make a video recently about a Libra ascendant, and how like if you have a Libra ascendant or like a Venus in 10th, it definitely means that like it means a lot. It manifests in a lot of different ways. That's the fun thing about astrology, because you can look at a placement and you can determine a lot of different things, but it really just matters like how that energy manifests, you know? Like, for example, random example, Scorpio and Venus. I don't have a Scorpio and Venus, but Scorpio and Venus is a notable energy because Scorpio is very Mars oriented. It is ruled by Mars, technically also Pluto, but Mars, and it's very harsh, it's very, you know, scornful, very, like, these are the negative, excuse me, these are the negative stereotypes of Scorpio. They're also very dedicated, very, like, you know, cutthroat, very, very, very loyal, I guess, but Venus is very soft, for the most part. Venus is very, like, I love you, but it does have a rougher side, so I guess we could say that. Anyways, Scorpio and Venus, it could say that a person is often very sexual in their romantic relationships. This could be one way that it manifests. It could also mean that they are very, like, mystical and, like, mysterious when it comes to their romantic relationships. Like, these are two different energies that it could manifest as. It could also be both. But, like, that's the thing about astrology. It's, like, you have to, like, it's also intuition. Like, you can't really just, like, look at a chart and, like, know what everything means, and, like, it's also intuition. You have to kind of intuit. And if you'd like an astrology reading, I haven't done an astrology reading for someone in a while, and I miss doing that. So if you want an astrology reading, we could do that. Join my Patreon, link in description. Hit me up, or hit me up via email, I guess. Anyways, this is a very loose reading. I'm gonna call this a loose, chaotic reading because I don't know. or like a check-in. I don't know. Maybe we could call it a check-in. As if anybody really watches my videos. Yeah, so. I talked about abundance earlier. We have the abundance card. I'm a limitless being, and I can manifest whatever I desire in this physical reality. And this is very true. And then we have the imagination card right underneath. I embrace and nourish the creative aspects of my mind. And I was talking about abundance earlier, and about like how abundance is more so an intangible thing. It's opportunities. It's friends that give you access to certain situations, or like, once again, opportunities. It's having the imagination to think of ideas to bring you money. You know, like, it's the intangible things. Like, sure, money, like, you can have an abundance of money, but that's different than like having abundance mindset, you know, like, those are two different things. And I'm not necessarily, oh goodness, my words, I'm not necessarily saying one is better than the other, but there's definitely an advantage to having that sort of mindset. And so if you're here with me, I'm sorry, there's like a message coming through about, there's like a tower moment for someone. This could be you, this could be someone else. But the message is very clear. Let me see, what's that about? What's this tower moment about? Give me a script of it. We have the Ten of Pentacles, we have the Wheel of Fortune. This Tower card energy, if you don't know about the Tower card, which I leave space for education, I guess. If you don't know what the Tower card, it's about, okay, let's say you're a carpenter or whatever the fuck, I don't know. Also, shout out to my girl Sabrina, because she's doing her thing right now. Imagine you like build houses, right? And I don't personally build houses. I've never really worked in construction. I worked in construction like 2 days in my life ever, and I was just a cleanup person. I was just cleaning up. But I digress. A lot of hot Mexicans though. I will say that. Anyways, you build a house, or you build a sandcastle, or whatever, and you don't put a proper foundation. I don't know how the foundation works, don't ask me any of the details, but you put down the foundation, and the foundation is not sturdy. It's not good quality. It is, if you were to give it a Yelp review, it'd be like 2 out of 5, maybe 2.5, because it lasted for some time, I guess. And so the foundation isn't that sturdy. It's not that great. And something happens, natural disaster strikes, maybe somebody even like set something on fire, I don't know. And because the foundation was not good, everything crashed, everything, you know. And if we like translate this to like a business or like a friendship, it's like, if we talk about a friendship specifically, it's like we did not have a solid foundation. We kind of just existed. And like something happened, and it's like there's nothing for us to really stand on. So, house of cards, you know, unfortunately. And this is why I was talking about core beliefs earlier, because part of core beliefs is like friendships and relationships. And if you don't have it down, like what it is that you believe about relationships and friendships, like you're not gonna have any solid foundations, you know. You can disagree with me, you can like feel however you feel, that's cool, that's dandy, but at least in terms of like consciousness, like when you like the more you become aware of your existence and your impact, etc., it's necessary to start thinking about, you know, the way that you interact and the way that you know, And I can feel resistance as I'm saying this. I can feel somebody being like against what I'm saying. Understandably, you know, if you're in that mindset, what can I do? Like, a video is not going to like necessarily change your mindset. Like, that's something you have to do for yourself. You have to be open to that. But I'm gonna take another breath because there's a lot of resistance. There's a lot. Like, I can just feel someone's blood boiling, and I'm like, I'm sorry. Disintegrated my visor. I'm sorry. But I think if I could also like translate this, like this could also just be like an energy that you're feeling in your like physical reality. Maybe somebody who is very combative, is that the word to say? Yeah, combative, we could say combative, argumentative, and it's unfortunate, having to do things like this, I'm sorry, 1 second. Because I don't know, I feel like I'm kind of like in channel mode right now. Yeah, I'm going to call this like a loose chaotic reading, because I feel like I am kind of just bouncing around. And then we have the relationships card, which is amazing, which is beautiful. I love that. Once again, if you don't have like a solid understanding of like your own beliefs and like your own fundamental desires, like, it's gonna be really hard to like develop really good relationships. Like, I was scrolling on TikTok the other day, which is something I'm not supposed to be doing. Every time I mention that, I have to say that. And there was a live stream, and I didn't go into the live stream, but the visual was like, do you intentionally make friends or not? And like, how does that go for you? And I was like, beautiful. I'm glad that people are having this discussion. And it sparked because of the whole Cleotrapa and Ice Spice thing, which I haven't talked about publicly, I'm realizing. But yeah, I'm so glad that people are having like productive conversations around that, because yes, we need more intentional like community building, you know what I mean? I'm sorry, there's like a rush of like information. Okay. But you know, I do really believe that it's very, very, very beneficial to like intentionally create relationships, like, which can be hard, even from my own perspective. It can be difficult, because not everyone is on that same wavelength, not everyone is like on that same ideology, and so a lot of times you might be going in with like a strong like intention, with a strong understanding, but if you don't make that clear to the other person, it's like, you know. And I am thinking about this for my own life. I'm thinking about this in my own regard, because I don't have many friends. The people that I consider friends, for the most part, are people online. Like, I have people that I interact with in online spaces that I could consider friends, but even then, I don't really. It's just really just me and God. Like, really, like, goddess or spirit, source. I call different names, but like, I'm really just cool with like the other side for the most part. Like, that's who I'd be spending the most energy with. I'm like, Zeus, thank you. You know, Hecate, love you. But even those relationships, like, there has to be, like, a clear, you know, thing. But that's another discussion for another day. We're not talking about the spirit world and whatnot. This is such a lax reading. We have the Three of Pentacles coming out as I, like, split the deck with the Wheel of Fortune once again. And the Three of Pentacles talks about collaboration. It talks about recognition, being recognized, etc., etc. And some of you, I do feel like that is a thing. You are moving towards more harmonious connections, more harmonious interactions. You know, I really did not plan to, like, have this on here. And it really is like a, I don't know, a non-factor. I didn't really have to talk about it, but I have a lollipop. And I'm being reminded of this idea. We could call it an idea to be safe, but I've been thinking about this idea of, like, and it resurfaces every so often on different social media platforms. Like, I've seen the same concept, like, in different platforms. And it's basically like, if you're craving certain types of, like, foods, it could say a lot about where you are, like, spiritually and emotionally. Like, if you're craving sweets, it's supposed to be an indication that you are lacking love in your life. If you're craving something salty, it could mean that you are misdirecting your anger or something of the sort. I think savory means something. There's, like, a whole list. I'm thinking specifically, I saw on Twitter. That's a lot of sugar right there. Oh my god. Anyways, I hope that, I feel like I shouldn't end the video here, but I'm kind of wanting to, like, end the video here. Also, how long have I been recording? 36 minutes, okay. Because I'm kind of just here, this kind of feels like a live stream. This is, like, how I would be, actually not really, because I'd be interacting with the audience, but also, I don't live stream on YouTube, and, like, I don't know, should I? We have the Eight of Swords here. I feel like whoever I'm talking to, whoever this is for, you have been feeling like you are in a box. Like, you don't feel like you're able to freely move around. And you might have been thinking a lot about your purpose. And I put quotes for different reasons. You might have been thinking about your purpose and, like, what it is that you want to do, what you're meant to do. And I say quotes because I realize whoever's watching, like, there might be a lot of nihilism within you. And so, speaking from that perspective, it's like, you choose your purpose. Like, it's not necessarily something that some external force wants you to do. Like, we could look at it that way. But, you know, the basic spiritual law, all is one, you know, so with that in mind, it's like your higher self, your God, it's just you in a different form, you know? That's one way to look at it, one perspective. But either way, you've been thinking a lot about what you want to do, what you feel like would best serve others. And I think from a nihilistic perspective, it is kind of a little bit more difficult to hone in on, like, purpose. Because the idea of nihilism, once again, is the idea, like, we just, nothing really matters. We all just die and rot in a hole. Which I don't personally believe. But I feel that energy heavily as I'm doing this reading. As we're here, There's chocolate in the middle. Also, I'm sorry that the sun is, like, up thing. This is just gonna be a weird video because I didn't choose to think about lighting. Oh well. Once again, nobody really watches these videos anyway. So, whatever. But, in the future, if somebody does stumble upon this, might be a learning lesson. I don't know. Make sure that you think ahead. I am not the most savvy content creator. I used to be really good. I used to really take time to edit my videos. And that was on my other page. I don't even have any videos like that on this page, unfortunately, but like if you search my other page, if you go to Afro Queer God, like there's so much content where I was just like going at it with the B-roll. Like I would do like really pretty like nature shots and shit like that. But I don't do that anymore. And I'm kind of disappointed in myself. But there's also a message about like not living in the past. I was like thinking about that yesterday, like the idea of living in the past. Like I think when it comes to my work, I might live in the past sometimes, but generally I kind of just like move forward. I'm like, once something's over, it's over. I don't care. Like it was fun while it lasted, but now let's make the best of what's in front of us. You know what I mean? And I think that's why I had such a decent time with like being homeless. Because that's just the kind of mindset that I have. And once again, we talked about abundance mindset, and that's kind of what that is. Like just understanding that wherever you are, no matter what you have or don't have, you have the ability to make it a cool experience, you know? And I kind of carry that wherever I go. Like, if I were to have to be homeless tomorrow, God forbid, I would tough it out. I would find a way. Like, I would probably be recording videos somewhere in a field. I don't know, you know? Because thankfully, I don't need the internet to fucking record videos, because that would be terrible. I wouldn't have recorded anything if that was the case. Granted, I did record a lot of video at the library where there was free Wi-Fi, but you know what I mean. Like, I wouldn't have recorded anything if it wasn't for that. Also, I'm done with this lollipop. I'm gonna, like... Boop. I realized I did not turn the data off on my other phone, and so, oops. Anyways, I hope that this hasn't been pleasant. Like, I feel like this is about to be like an hour long, and I'm like, for a guy that nobody watches, sure does make a lot of content. And I guess once again, if you are interested in it would be a lot more. Actually, I don't know. Like, would it be this lax? Because this was pretty lax. This was more of a channeling, more than a reading. I mean, you could say it's the same thing, but I feel like we spent more time channeling today. So, but I thank you for your time. I thank you for being here with me, and I genuinely hope that I've said some helpful things to you today. And if I could be self-promotion real quick and like shout out the link the links down below in the description. If you could check that out, if you could consider joining my Patreon. I do have a free membership you can join for free, and that's cool, and you'll get updates and whatnot. But I also have a paid membership and whatnot if you want to help support me in that way. Excuse me. And it's basically a monthly subscription thingy. And I personally think the app Patreon is pretty cool. And I am saying that mostly because I am a creator. But I think it's a pretty cool app. I follow a few other people that make really cool content. And so you could also check them out by proxy too. Like Miss Joyce Tarot, I believe is her name. I'm no longer a paid subscriber, but I am a member of the page, and I think she makes such wonderful content, and always at the best times too. Like always so convenient. You know what I mean? And ideally, I do hope that it is what I can be for you, for anyone potentially watching. But if not, I also just enjoy making videos. I just enjoy capturing my essence in this way, you know. So, namaste, much love, much peace, and have a good one. Bye. I almost tried to pick up the laptop as though it were my phone because I'm so used to like grabbing the phone. Oh my goodness. Okay, have a good one. Bye. Love ya. If I can actually stop recording. Oh my goodness.